All right. So if everyone can hear me, um, so today we're going to talk about the difference between race, nationality, citizenship, and ethnicity. This is going to inform how we look at the OMB um, listening sessions that are starting tomorrow. And first we should basically define how we look at things from a freedman perspective, and then we can look at things from a national perspective. Um, we pretty much should know the definition of freedmen by now. Basically, they're American freedmen, um, which we got our status in 1865. In 1866, the native freedmen from the five tribes got their emancipated freedmen title. And then the real thing we're talking about right now is status. So, race, nationality, and citizenship are three types of statuses. Race terms can be used interchangeably. So there's examples like African, Black, Colored, Negro, Afro, Mulatto, even. Those are all different race terms that um, can be used interchangeably, based on preference. There's nothing binding really about race. And then you have nationality. Nationality can be American, Chickasaw, Choctaws. In terms of freedmen status, there's only American or one of the five tribes. And then citizenship. There's three types of citizenships, which is based on ancestral lineage. So you're either a freedman, native, or an immigrant. And that is determined based on, um, you know, where your ancestors, how your ancestors came to America and immigrated to America and became citizens. So freedmen, we didn't become citizens because we were native to this land or through immigration. Um, and then natives, um, obviously like the Aboriginal, Indigenous, five tribes and more are natives, for example. And then immigrants include even the people who came over on the Mayflower. If you essentially didn't um, come here but didn't become a citizen through emancipation or weren't a native, then you were an immigrant. And then ethnicity. Ethnicity is as you could say I'm either an American freedman, or if you want to include race, you could say I'm a Black American freedman, African American freedman, a colored American freedman, Negro American freedman, Afro American freedman, mulatto American freedman. So it's up to you how you want to talk about race, because race is not um, there's nothing really like legal about race terms, scientific about race terms. Um, Now, if I ask you what ethnicity is freedmen, you would have to include American freedmen, and that's one way. Now, if I ask you all African American ethnicity, you would have to include African immigrants, African um, freedmen who are American and from the five tribes. Um, so there's different ways of slicing up ethnicity depending on what you're trying to define. That's why ethnicity is based on the statuses that you're looking at. And so the other thing you have to look at is precedence. So 77, the native freedmen, their reconstruction didn't end until 1979, nearly 100 years later. So on their IDs, they already have the recognition of their freedmen citizen status. Unlike us, we should have on our IDs freedman citizen, and that would be part of our protected class status. So if any law enforcement or civilian to show your ID and it says freedman citizen, they'll know that anything they do negatively towards you is basically an automatic hate crime, automatic act of genocide. Um, and this is just an example from the Seminole Nation, but every tribe has an ID like this. So it'll say Cherokee Nation, Freedman Citizen, for example. So there's no reason it can't say, you know, United States, California, and then say Freedman Citizen. Um, for,
I just want to ask the room. I'm sorry because we're cutting out. Can you guys tweet out the space, please? Because essentially we are preaching to the choir.
yeah, definitely share out the space if you can. It is recorded, so people can go back. But tomorrow
Oh yeah.
the listening session starts, so we need to get this information out so people aren't having these silly arguments in the official OMB listening sessions. That'll look very unprofessional, and it'll shoot ourselves in the foot. Have this citizen, and we need that in America as well. Now, one of the things I also looked at, you can look at the use of freedmen over time. One of the things I did today is I compared the use of freedmen over time with the use of African American. Let me switch my screen so y'all can see that. Give me 1 second. Freedmen versus African American over time. It's African American only recently became more popular than what freedmen was all time at its all time height. Um, Basically, it's a sign that African American has unfortunately usurped freedmen and replaced it in popular use. But it also is a signal that it's possible for us to get back to designator. Um, and if you actually look at it, freedman is used more than Black American as well. So um, we have to understand that there's a lot of not only legislation that goes with this, but precedents in terms of its use uh, just in popular culture as well. Okay, so all of this informed what we ended up drafting in terms of an OMB draft form. So let me share.
In and out of the matrix a little bit. Okay, I just wanted to FYI you.
Can anybody else hear me? Somebody else come up to speak. Make sure you can hear me. Um, but yeah, so the OMB draft, if you look at the OMB draft, it's broken down into race, nationality, and citizenship, um, similar to how we broke down things just for freedmen. Um, so for me, I'm an African slash Black American freedman. So that's what I would put. And then let's say if I'm submitting this as an immigrant or as a freedman from one of the five tribes, I'll show an example. So if I'm from one of the five tribes, then I would put, you know, African slash Black, and then I would put Cherokee, uh, as a as my um, citizenship. Now, if I'm an African American immigrant, I would choose African slash Black American. I'll do one for a naturalized citizen and one for one that's not naturalized. So for one that's naturalized, they would be a Black American, and then under other, they would put, let's say Nigeria as an example. They would put Nigeria as their or Nigerian as their nationality under other as well. And then if they're not naturalized, then they would unclick American and they would just be a African/Black Nigerian immigrant. So it basically works for everybody, whether you're African American freedman, whether you're a native freedman, whether you're African American immigrant, whether you're white or anything else. Um, we got Katie in the room. How you doing, Super Sean? You got your hand up. You want to ask a question?
I want to ask a question definitely, but I want to give a little bit of context behind.
Are you following along? Are you following along on the screen?
Yeah, I should be.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you on StreamYard or are you on Twitter?
I think he's
on
saying.
Twitter.
Yeah, I think he's watching it from YouTube, maybe.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's what the second phone is in the car for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to give. I'm gonna ask the question for you, and then I'm gonna put some context behind it, and then I'll re-ask the question. Okay.
Well, we're trying to limit things to at least like 2 minutes, so at least try to keep it within 2 minutes.
I'll be able to fit it.
Okay, great.
The question would be, now, although I understand the question is, what's the difference between race, nationality, citizenship, and ethnicity? Why isn't culture added into it? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, we all understand
culture is part of an ethnicity. So you can't have culture. You can't even define what a culture is unless you can define the ethnicity that created the culture.
Yeah, and that's where the framework that I said I was going to throw your way is going to come into context. You know what I'm saying? So just bear with me for a few seconds. Now, I'm Black American, non-immigrant. You know what I'm saying? Family came here in the very beginnings of the 1700s up until now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And whatever, and I live in the Midwest, but it doesn't matter which region of America that I travel to. You know what I'm saying? What region of Black Americans that I'm around in this country, there's always something that we're able to bite down on. Like I have the love for a specific type of food, not necessarily a dish, but a type of food. Black American soul food travels all over the country. You know what I'm saying? I have
You got about 30 seconds, brother.
Yeah. I'm getting back to it. There's certain things that go with our culture that are just like regional across this landmass. So again, I pose the question: where would culture? Where would culture fit into this 100%? And why didn't they have this the culture reference in the question with the article?
So, like I mentioned earlier, you can't define a culture unless you can define the ethnicity that created the culture. So, for example, if we had to define American freedmen culture versus tribal freedmen culture, right? Not only would we have to define American freedmen, we would also have to define which of the 5 tribes we're trying to distinguish, which culture we're differentiating from. So you can't define culture without defining ethnicity. So the same way that race, nationality, and citizenships are functions of ethnicity, culture is a function of ethnicity as well. So you can't talk about culture without talking about the ethnicity. Thank you for your question. Let's try to get. We have KD and we have Phoenix in the room as well. We have them on StreamYard if y'all want to follow along in the YouTube. But raise your hand so we can keep track of questions and things like that. I see we got By Our Blood in here, Insane, a son in here. How you doing, By Our Blood?
Hi, it's Brooke.
I know, Brooke. You're over here with your multiple accounts. I feel you. How you been?
I've been pretty good. How are you?
Good. Catching up on work.
Right. I hear you. Well, I just came up. I wanted to introduce just to let you know that it was me, and like I'm not a troll.
Yeah, I've been liking all of your spam.
No, man, I'm cool. I'm cool. So I'm just drop down and listen.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Phoenix,
good to have you in the room.
thank you.
Hey, son, how you doing? Did you want to add anything to the conversation?
Hey everyone, no, it's I just popped in, so I don't really know what the topic is right now to feed into it. But I'm gonna listen in for a minute, and then I'll mic and share my thoughts.
Awesome, awesome.
Thanks for inviting me up.
Yeah, of course. I think we lost KD, but I think Phoenix is in.
I'm here. I'm still trying to figure it out, everybody, because I don't know if I'm on Twitter and on StreamYard,
Yeah, you are.
or I'm on both. Okay, because
Yep.
I was like, let me go get my laptop, and maybe I pull my laptop pull Twitter on my laptop, and then so
Yeah.
I'm on both. Okay, got it. Hi, Brooke. I didn't. Yeah. Hi,
She got.
everybody. I can't see anything, but
So what I do,
hi.
I have Twitter on my phone, and I usually do StreamYard on my laptop. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do both. Let me figure it out, and I'm listening. But I just want to let Twitter know that I can't see anybody in the room right now. But I'm working on it right
Yeah, no worries.
now.
So let's see. Yeah. So if for anybody that missed it, and let's try to get Kitty back in the room. Um, but yeah, for anybody who missed it, basically, there's a difference between race, nationality, and citizenship. Um, the sum of your statuses is your ethnicity. And going back to Super's question, you can't define a culture without defining the ethnicity that it springs from. So um, all these things are connected. All of this is also important for the OMB. Let me pull up that link. The OMB is having.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, Phoenix?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of maybe uh I know, and that's where you were going, is kind of reset the room, and as to
Yeah. Oops. Sounds like we lost you.
and what the OMB is the Office of Management and Budgets, and
Hmm.
they are over the census, right? And but more importantly than that, they are the department that essentially gives out money, right, to the different groups. Am I saying that correctly, or?
Yeah, in terms of allocation, yep,
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's very important because, as you know, we've been, kind of X'd out because we've been flattened and not delineated or distinguished. And so a lot of people have been getting in position to get our allocated funds and or services. So that's why we're doing this, because the listening sessions are beginning starting tomorrow. And so we are all setting them up and trying to establish our new designation as American freedmen, hence freedmen as our status. So that's just a reset. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you for that, Phoenix. So I just put on the screen the White House press release. OMB launches new public listening sessions on federal race and ethnicity standards revision. I'm just going to read this because it's pretty short. The first step in the formal review process for OMB's statistical standards for collecting race and ethnicity data is well underway, and the public can now share their perspectives and input. What are we reviewing? In June, the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, announced that my office would begin formal review to revise OMB Statistical Policies Directive Number 15, Standards for Maintaining, Collecting, and Presenting Federal Data on Race and Ethnicity. This directive provides minimum standards that ensure the federal government's ability to compare race and ethnicity information and data across federal agencies, and also helps us to understand how well federal programs serves a diverse America. How the process works. Earlier this year, I convened an interagency technical working group of federal government career staff representing over 20 agencies across the federal government, including almost every CFO Act agency and recognized statistical agency that collect or use race and ethnicity data, as well as the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC. The working group has begun the important work of developing a set of recommendations for improving the quality and usefulness of federal race and ethnicity data. The working group will evaluate relevant research, engage in a meaningful way with the American public and all impacted agencies, and develop recommendations on topics including but not limited to: 1, whether the minimum reporting categories should be changed and how to best address detailed race and ethnicity groups in the standards; 2, whether updates should be made to the question format, terminology, and wording of the questions, as well as instructions for respondents and associated guidance; and 3, whether guidance for the collection and reporting of race and ethnicity data can be improved, including in instances when self identification is not possible. How the public can get involved. So, everybody in this room, you guys should listen up so you can get involved if you haven't already. My office is committed to a full, transparent revision process with input from the American public to ensure the rigor, validity, objectivity, and impartiality of the resulting recommended revisions. To do so, we will continue to provide updates on the process. Today, I want to share 2 ways for the public to share their perspectives and input with the working group. 1, the working group through OMB will solicit public input on its recommended proposal for revisions to Directive Number 15 through a Federal Register notice. If you would like to be notified when the Federal Register notice is published, please send a request to join our mailing list. 2, the working group will hold virtual bi-monthly listening sessions to hear directly from members of the public. These listening sessions will begin starting Thursday, September 15th, 2022. That's tomorrow. To schedule a listening session, please send a brief email expressing interest. I hope that anyone interested will participate in this important process, and I look forward to sharing more updates soon. So that's the full announcement. Most of the organizations working towards reparations have put in a bid for a listening session. If you haven't and you want to host the listening session, you should email um, the OMB Statistical Directive group and uh, put in so you can be added to the mailing list as well for the Federal Registrar. Um, did anyone want to add to the OMB announcement? Or I know a few people in here. I think Inspired, for example, she got a response from OMB. Phoenix, have you heard back from OMB, or did you put in a request?
I have. I did put in my request, and I'm coming on StreamYard on my computer now.
Okay.
Um, um, I did, and I'm waiting
Okay.
for the dates. I submitted the 3 dates, and I'm just waiting for the confirmation now.
Awesome. Okay, we got Katie back. Katie, you got your hand up. Go for it.
Yes, I haven't. I'm trying to figure out have we all agreed as a collective on the date? I did get my email confirmation, but I didn't pick a date yet. So I was wondering if we've all agreed as a collective on what date we wanted to attend the listening session.
So far, from what I understand, multiple people have gotten responses so far, and they've gotten to the point where they've gotten a date. Not everyone has gotten a date yet. I'm not sure if all of them have chosen their dates, but they're different dates and different times. I think it's like something like till 12 or something like that. But basically,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like you got to choose first. Just let them know you're interested, and then beyond that, the first listening session is apparently tomorrow, and then from there it's going to be every 2 weeks, basically. Um, and yeah, it doesn't seem like necessarily they're all on the same day. It may be that different groups are hosting different listening sessions, it may not be that that everybody's in the same necessary listening session, if that makes sense.
It does.
Awesome.
Do we have a uniform outline?
Yeah, right now we're focusing on trying to get the freedman status, the American freedman ethnicity recognized. Um, the we talked about whether we wanted to battle and try to remove race from it this go around. The consensus was essentially that that's not the battle we need to be fighting right now. Um, the big battle would be getting the freedmen and the American freedman status recognized, and then the next go around we can focus on getting race removed. I see Asun has her hand up. I know she wants to add to this. Asun, you want to add?
Yeah, thank you for bringing me back up. I was trying to get your attention under my other avatar, but you weren't seeing me. So, I'm like, oh my gosh, bring me back up, please.
I'm sorry.
So I wanted to answer some of the questions as one of the grassroots organizations that was coordinating this. We do have some dates that are already confirmed. We have the 9/15 date, the 9/29 date, the October 27th date. We have two scheduled for October 27th, and we have one scheduled for November the 10th at 1:30. If there are no more, because they only have 50 slots, first of all, so everyone will know. Currently, right now, our goal was to lock down 30% of those slots, which would be that we would need about 10 of those slots. If you have not received the confirmation, you may still receive it. But when we last spoke with them, which was today, they told us that they only had 2 dates left, which was December 27th and I want to say the November 10th, that they had one more slot left for November the 10th. Remember that it's only for 2 hours. It's from 12 to 2. It's every other Thursday beginning tomorrow. If you're interested in being a listener in one of the listening sessions, we would have to have your email address. So because we are approved for some of the listening sessions, if you send your email address to OMB listening session at captaskforce.org, we will add your email address and we will submit it to OMB, and they will send you out an invite for the listening sessions that we add you to. That may be the only way that you're able to get in to listen, because right now, yes, it's open to the public, but it's open to the public by invitation only. So they're not going to stream it so that you can listen into the listening session just as a listener. So in order for you to get a direct invite from OMB, you have to give us or someone else who has a scheduled listening session your email address. We have to submit it to the OMB for them to send you out a personal invite.
Will you repeat the email address?
And again, the email address that we've established, because our goal is to have as many freedmen in the space as possible. So our goal is to collect and then share our email list with the other freedmen organizations that we're working with, so that we can continue to build the momentum of having a lot of us there. Mm-hmm. Not just, we have 5 listening sessions and then we only have 3 people at each listening session, right?
Will you repeat that listening?
Yeah. And also,
Asun, do you mind putting that email in the chat?
Yeah, I will.
And then the Jumbotron if you can. If not, I'll put in the Jumbotron once you put in the chat.
Tomorrow, I'll drop the email now. Tomorrow, we are dropping a flyer with all the information on it. But I will drop the email address today so that we can begin to get it. Now, for tomorrow's session, I don't know that we're going to be able to get them to add. If you're trying to get into tomorrow's session, I don't know that they're going to be able to add your email that quickly. but you can still send it over to us, and then we will try to see if they will do it. But if not, we have the next listening session will be on the 29th. One is at 12:30 and one was at 1. So you have an opportunity to get into one of those as long as we get your email address timely.
Also, son, is there anything, any rules that they made against like streaming it yourself?
So right now, they have not seen yay or nay. Tomorrow, we were going to speak with them directly. We've been conversing with them via email.
Okay.
So we're going to, we now have a direct phone number that we can contact them. So we're going to call them directly to find out about that, because we too are planning on streaming it through the reparations perspective and through ETM media.
Awesome.
So we have them already set up with their invites. So we're going to make sure that our group, right, our future ethnic group, the American Freedmen group, will see this.
Exactly.
That's an absolute.
Yeah, we can stream it with FNN too. I mean, as many places we can get it out.
Absolutely. So, well, you know how we do it. So we will communicate on the back channel and make sure that happens.
Awesome.
But for everyone else, I'll drop the email address now. And there was one other thing I wanted to say, because I heard a question about the way that we're moving. So I know there's 2 polls that's circulating right now. The idea is just to get an idea of how our community was feeling as a whole. 1 and 2, we're trying to help people to remember that this is solely really focused on the race and then the ethnic group, right? And then we had added in our political status as freedmen. The race was Black American / African American, and we have an explanation for that. And then our ethnic group is American Freedmen. And like Phoenix was saying earlier, it's important that we secure the ethnic group, because that's how we've been locked out since the 13th and 14th Amendment. We were always locked out of inclusion. We just weren't aware of it, because they locked us out based on race. We're the only group that has never been given an ethnic group. So we were never in a position to actually to be able to receive money specifically for this ethnic group. And so we are embarking upon history right now, that we will change that from here on out, where the American Freedmen, their 501c3s, their government agencies that we're trying to establish will receive money specifically for us. That's why this is so very important. The chief office, the chief financial office, as Phoenix said, is the office that can allocate this money to our community. We have to now fight to be an ethnic race, and an ethnic group, so that we are recognized, separated, and that's what this is all about. Just for those who do, if someone is in here who does have a listening session already scheduled, you have up to 30 minutes. If you don't ask for your full 30 minutes, they will group you with other people, and then they will give you a time slot. So we have covered our full 30 minutes. We are preparing our speakers so that we can hit the key points of interest that we feel are of interest based on the definitions that some of us collectively have been behind the scenes meeting and working out. And so I will land there, and I'll stay here for a bit to answer any other questions that you all may have.
Thank you, Asun, for your wealth of knowledge, especially on the process so far. That was really helpful, especially for people who are still going through it or interested in getting involved. Insane, I see you have your hand up. You got a question or comment?
Ashun pretty much answered my question, and I just want to say thank you to Ashun Freedman and KD for all the hard work that you're putting in, and the patience that you have for us. Thank you so very much. That's it.
Definitely. It's pronounced the sun, by the way.
Son, thank you so very much.
Of course.
You're welcome. I want you all to know it's nothing but love for y'all. It's nothing but love for us that motivates us to do this. So thank you all, because it's you all that keep the wind under our wings, that keeps us moving even when we get discouraged, when we get beat down out here. And trust me when I tell you, we get beat down more from our own people than the opposition. But we know that we are misdirected, and we love our families so much that we continue this fight endlessly. So that's much appreciation for acknowledging that. We appreciate it.
Definitely. Phoenix, go for it.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Thank you for the great explanation and being a great leader in this movement. I mean, she is priceless, and you guys just don't even know. You don't realize how priceless she is. I don't know if I'm on StreamYard. If you can hear me,
you're on both.
I don't know. I'm just still trying to figure it out, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Unmute StreamYard and
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
Unmute both. But I did want to say this, you guys. You know, when we're holding these spaces and we're talking about delineation, disaggregation, all of those terms that we've been using and also fighting to have done, and we're doing it on our grassroots level and culturally. This is what I would call like the finish line to that. This is the official delineation, the official disaggregation. So look at this process that we're doing right now as that. No more, this would like take away any more debate. It would take away any question. It would take away any doubt that anyone has. This is the finish line to those debates. So I just want to say that right now, starting now, we are American freedmen. I want us to be comfortable with that. I want us to start using that. If we can, please refrain from Black, just for the psychology of it, right? We're just trying to train our minds, right? We know that we call ourselves Black. We know that we have that in our history, but also know that that refers to race. We'll never get any money, and that's what it all boils down to. Yeah. We need some money, and we need to be repaired. So let's train our brains, right, to start thinking in terms of American freedmen. Think in terms of your ancestors that built this entire place, that laid down every track, that built the Capitol building, that built the building that the OMB sits in. Mm-hmm. So this is the finish line, you guys, in terms of that. And then this opens up the gate to the greater repair. And I'll land there. Thank you.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. So definitely, this is the real delineation. This will make things official, right? Like we've taken steps this year, just raising the consciousness. And then secondly, California and its use of delineation in terms of federal, state employees. And then now this would be on the federal level where like we can take it and cover the whole country. So this is the real delineation. And I definitely agree that we want to get away from race, but to recognize something, you can call yourself a Black American freedman or Negro American freedman if you really want to hold on to Negro. I see some people do. Point is, eventually race won't matter, and race is not the thing that defines you as a unique person in America. It's your status as a freedman. And so that's the one thing. I do want to get KD in here since we got her in this space. How you doing, KD? Is there anything you wanted to add? And then I'll go to Queen of LA.
Hey family, I just wanted to say, thanks for explaining and clarifying, that piece. So I appreciate that explanation. The only, I take issue with, and I know y'all was talking about race and everything else.
Yeah.
but it's the African American is what I do not like. I never referred to myself as an African American, and I do not subscribe to that at all. And I'm wondering, after we've established as a collective what the ethnicity factor, I'm wondering how we're going to combat that African American stigma that is on us. How are we going to combat that? I would love it if we could just do away with it completely, because I just that's the only, I guess, classification that I do not subscribe to, and I will not acknowledge it. So I'm just trying to figure out, and I'm not the only person that feels that way. Yeah, and so I just want to know how we come at that.
So there's two things about this. One, you don't have to subscribe to it, right? In terms of like, you don't even have to recognize that part of race at all, or you can look at it as those are different ethnicities. Like I don't like the word Negro. Like I as someone who's a scholar recognize that if people want to call themselves Negro, that's on them. But that's where ethnicity comes in. Because if you say, well, who's all of the freedmen in the United States, then you would have to include American freedmen and the freedmen from the 5 tribes. But then if you said, well, who's all of the Negro American freedmen and who's all the Black American freedmen, those would be 2 different ethnicities in terms of who want to identify as Negro, who want to identify as Black. So that's where race is subjective. It's not anything that has a real legal standing in this country compared to our status as freedmen. And then just in terms of African American, there was a use of African American in like 1790 by a freed slave, and that was the first use before Jesse Jackson. Point is, whether or not you like it or not, it doesn't really matter. The thing that matters the most is freedmen, and you don't have to use African at all. You don't even have to use African American. I think eventually, like Phoenix was saying, we want to just get to American freedmen or just freedmen, because out of all the freedmen, most like 95% are American freedmen. So, I think at this point, I posted in I'll do it again, but I posted in the, oh, there you go, Phoenix. Thank you. That's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, we were going for the same thing.
Yeah, see, I love it. I love it. So if you look at the use of freedmen versus African American over time, freedmen was used more than African American for most of our time in America. African American was only recently popular. So if we go back to where things were, freedmen will be the primary way we identify, and then if we want to be even more specific, American freedmen primarily. The Queen of Katie, did you want to say anything? Then I'll go to Queen of LA.
I just want to say thanks for clarifying that for me.
Definitely, of course. Queen of LA, do you want to talk about the effort for delineation in California and what was achieved there?
Sure. I also wanted to, talk about the OMB session. I like to thank, NAASC. We've been meeting with the OMB for over a year behind the scenes, and that these listening sessions are a result of our activism, because we felt like, what we did here in California, we wanted it to also be done at the federal level. And we purposely posted it on social media so y'all could be there and let them hear your voice as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge NAASD in our activism and getting these listening sessions and bringing y'all to the table so you can also, get in that White House and start sharing your views as well. So I just wanted to first say that. And I like to think what we did here in California played a huge role in it, because we kept them in the loop about everything going on, about getting the American freedmen language in California's official record. The governor signed SB 189 into law, and that's the first time American freedmen has been recognized since Reconstruction. Yeah. So we have precedents in the largest state in the union. And that's one of the advantages of being in California, because California politics shapes a lot of national politics. So yes, I'm aware, I'm excited, I'm happy that you guys are scheduling listening sessions, and keep it up, keep doing the good work. We need to present a united front. We've been working together on social media, now we're in the White House. So I'm excited, and I look forward to hearing how it went for everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Queen of LA. Let's go to Hassan, then Lloyd, and then Reverend Tim.
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on what KD was saying. And a lot of us push back on the African American piece of it. And one person helped me to appreciate it when we read over the definition of it, of how it was defined behind the scenes. It helped me to appreciate that it was important for us to retain it and take complete ownership of it and lock out any other group, because it is connected to our ancestors and our contributions here. And we were not willing to sacrifice any of our contributions for our feelings. So one of the reasons why we did Black American / African American, and one of the reasons why it was defined so it was gated for just the American freedmen lineage, was because we were protecting the contributions of our ancestors, because in our current history, a lot of the contributions that we've done here fall under the title of African American, and we weren't willing to give it up. That's the only reason why. Otherwise, we would be, for the most part, we had long drawn out meetings, right? Because most of us were like KD. We were like, no, we're not even considering it. We are divorced from it. Throw it away, burn it, do whatever you want. But when talking with other people, other leaders in this space, and just around table conversations, and I'm telling you, these conversations for 3 or 4 hours for each session, right? To be able to kind of lay down our feelings and open our ears to the reasoning is what made all the difference. That we are not sacrificing one bit of our rich contribution to this country. It's ours. We own it. We're not letting anyone else claim it. And that's just that at this point. So that's one of the reasons why we allowed for ourselves to put our emotions aside and just go ahead and concede to having the African American along with the Black American. I just wanted to clarify that part of it. Thank you for letting me speak again.
Definitely, son. Always appreciate your contribution. Phoenix, really quick, then we'll go to Lloyd and Reverend Tim.
Hey, I just wanted to say to the Queen of LA, that is a hashtag. Can you say it again? You said from the grassroots to the White House, or from California to the White House? Yes. From social media to the White House. I like from grassroots to the White House. We're going to double use that. Thank you, sis. And thank you, Hassan. You can speak whenever you want, Queen. Thank you.
Exactly. You can grab the mic like Kanye. Go for it, Lloyd and Reverend Tim.
I've got two really questions. To Queen of LA, can you tell us what the delineation in California is?
Sure. So California, there's a reparations task force going on, and we use that as an opportunity to get California to delineate. We want the data to be used to help with the task force, but also just because we need data in general. So we wrote a bill last year called AB 105, and that wasn't a delineation bill specifically, but our delineation language was added to that bill. Governor Newsom vetoed it, so we reintroduced it this year. And instead of it being a traditional bill, he pulled our language and included it in the California budget. So now he's starting with the state agencies. There's like 2.5 million state employees, and they're going to actually start collecting data on the various Black populations. Now, the significance of that is that, first of all, it's the first time it's been done, and secondly, that it uses American freedmen. So it has a two-pronged purpose. First, to just collect data in general, but to use it in an effort with the California Reparations Task Force. Does that answer your question, or do you have any follow-up questions?
Follow-up. So California already uses makes American freedmen as an option for ethnicity, or did Newsom put it in as race?
No, we have it where there's a Black category, there's like sub categories, African American, but there's also American freedmen. So it's functioning more as an ethnicity versus race. Like, we don't want a racial classification because we can't do anything with that here.
Well, that was my point. That's the reason why I'm asking the question, because if anybody tries to use American freedmen as race, they're going to screw us everything going forward based on the Supreme Court's ruling that there can be nothing race-based in terms of resources given to a specific group of people. So we cannot in any way allow anywhere, any place, American freedmen to ever be our race. It is our ethnicity.
Definitely. I'm pulling up SB 189. Queen of LA, you want to talk about SB 189? Yeah, can you talk about SB 189 as well?
Yeah, that was SB 189. It's a trailer bill that was a part of Newsom's budget.
Yeah, so basically, I'm gonna pull it up so people can.
You want me to? I know, because I know I know Queen of LA. So I'll piggyback on her for that. So just a lesson in politics for everybody. Just in terms of like when you get into office, because many of us in this room will be running for office, right? So sometimes your bill may not, your singular bill, right, may not get picked up. So, you know, you sit on committees and you have relationships with people, and then you might get someone that says, hey, you know, can you add this to your bill? And so that's how the initial delineation happened. But it got vetoed, as she stated. For the budget, but it was cool because he vetoed it, but then he gave us an enroll, so that was even better. So then it became a part of the budget, and so with that started to delineate the state employees and so on and so forth, which is really huge, especially for California, because with the population and the amount of employees, it was very important. So that I'll just recap essentially what she said, but we all do know that even though a bill may not get passed in that way, initially singularly, it can be added to another committee bill and go that way. So that's just a little lesson in politics. And I'm sure most of us will be using it once we get into these offices, so don't forget that.
Definitely.
There you go.
And I just pulled up SB 189 so we can read through just how they defined it really quickly. And then I wanted to end with the two pastors. We had pastor and reverend. I wanted to have them end, but we'll at least get the pastor up here. For the purposes of this section, 1, African Americans who are descendants of persons who were enslaved in the United States means individuals who self-identify as Black, African American, or American freedmen who have at least one ancestor who was enslaved in the United States. 2, African Blacks means individuals who self-identify as Black and who either immigrated directly from Africa to the United States or whose descendants of such a person and who have no ancestors who were enslaved in the United States. 3, American freedmen means persons who gained freedom from slavery in the United States or their descendants. 4, Caribbean Blacks means individuals who self-identify as Black and who either left Africa for a Caribbean country before immigrating to the United States or who are descendants of such a person and who have no ancestors who were enslaved in the United States. 5, Other Blacks means individuals who self-identify as Black and who either left Africa to a country not in the Caribbean before immigrating to the United States or who are descendants of such a person and who have no ancestors who were enslaved in the United States. So that's how it's defined in SB 189 as the Queen of LA just described. Let me go to the pastor, then I'll come back to you, Lloyd. Pastor, did you want to say anything? I know it seems like you're in California as well. District 25?
Yeah, I am. I'm in California, running for Congress in District 25, which is San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial County. I'm also an elected.
I lived in Marietta for like 3 years.
Okay. I don't know if you were watching the news, but where that fire was at, the Fairview fire, that was just in the news. Riverside County, that's in my city, bro. I'm an elected official in that area. But I just wanted to speak to that. I love what I heard from, I think it's Phoenix Star, something like that. As far as running for office, I encourage, Black folks, we need to run for office. In 2022, I just want you guys to pay attention to this election. And I want you guys to take note on the importance of this election. This is a really unique and a very important election. And I wish it had been shared, especially amongst our Black leaders that are elected right now, to encourage a lot of Blacks to run for office. Because with the census that came out, and I was sharing this in another space, with the census, they do it every 10 years. So we won't know the numbers until 2032. But as it stands right now, and this is the reason why you're going to start hearing a lot more immigration reform, you're going to hear a lot more push for legalizing immigration status a lot swifter. It's going to be some of the language that's going to come over the next 4 to 6 years. You're starting to hear it a little bit now, only because of the shift in the voting based off the census that Hispanics are now the largest minority voting group. So that's the reason why I said this election is really important, especially to push an agenda that deals with reparations or just any agenda to focus on. One thing that I will encourage for those who are, like as the sister said, running for office, start building your platform now. And what I mean by your platform now, your community organizational now. The current congressman that I'm going up against, they call them the Coachella Valley Mob for a reason. He grew up in Coachella Valley. Our supervisor is from Coachella Valley. The mayor of the city of Coachella, they all grew up together. The Assemblyman Garcia, they all grew up together. So all the different organizations that are connected to, when you apply for grants, city grants, they got to be connected to a nonprofit. So many of them, have already built up a network within the community. If you Google my name, you'll find out that one of the things I built was the Black Voices of the Valley. And we've been very successful in rewriting policies to get Black businesses grants. There's just so many different things. I give you a list of my accomplishment. But I did this strategically, especially from the pulpit of being a pastor. My vision was to equip the community, get ready for me to run. And so it took me about 7 years to strategize and get different parts of the community on. So now I have somebody running for school board, I have somebody running for state assembly. So it's not just a by itself type of strategy. When you're talking about passing bills come with re-election status. Every politician, and there's a small percentage, but majority of politicians are trying to get re-elected, and that's it. And so whoever has the biggest connection of votes allow for individuals to get re-elected. And this is where, getting folks out to vote. And that's why Blacks often get overlooked because of our voting turnout is so low. In California, there's only out of 22 million registered voters, only 704,000 are Black in California, and only 36% vote. So we got to increase that voting population, somewhere north of 74 to 75%, which will really start to generate a push to getting many of those legislations passed. But it all has to do with community organization, getting people involved and strategizing from that level. Once you do that, when I ran for office, it was easy for me to run. As a matter of fact, many people were saying, "Oh, we're going to vote for Pastor Hawkins because he was already doing what he's running for." So many people automatically knew what I was doing in the community, which made it easy. So when I ran and won, it wasn't even close. And I ran against incumbents who have been in the seat for 10, 12 years. So I just wanted to say that, I land my plane.
Thank you for that, Pastor. And you said a lot of great things. At the party, the Freedmen Party, we've developed a candidate boot camp. You sound like you have your stuff together, but you should at least check it out and look at our platform. You could also maybe provide feedback, share it around. We believe that we need far more freedmen running for elected office. During Reconstruction, there was 2,000 freedmen in elected office, which means that more than 2,000 ran for elected office, right? So we need to be getting back to those types of numbers, thousands, like Harriet said, hundreds of thousands if we can. There's millions that are eligible. So, it's a numbers game. And if we have a strong policy platform like we've developed at the party, reparations now, freedmen reconstruction, and genocide prevention, and then allow candidates to have the best data and the best kind of technology to get their message out there. That's a powerful combination.
Hey, I want to, so just to let you know, I love that. Maybe we can sit down and talk about doing a Freedmen Convention. And I remember talking about the Black Convention in 1972. And from that convention, and they were talking about a Black agenda. And from that convention, the next election, over 3,000 Blacks were elected into office. And so, I would love to be a part of that. And maybe take it from state to state and rent out coliseums and get individuals involved, because it's time to really wake up the masses that are asleep and that are not even aware. And I think a Freedmen Convention, 3-day boot camp, and getting a lot of things together, I can see that happen. I'm a doer, man. I don't like meetings, I really don't, because we can talk about a lot of great things, but at the end of the day, one thing that really sticks out to me the most that I hear a lot is we built this. I'm like, okay, if we built this, then we need to get back to building this, and that's where that mindset has to be at. So I'm all for it. I'm on board with it, and I would love to do anything I can to use my platform, and as God bless me and put me in this congressional seat, definitely be able to use that to bring a significant amount of awareness and build up a platform that can go on for the next 10,000 generations.
Definitely agree with you. I'll say one more thing, then pass it to Phoenix and Lloyd. We actually held our first national convention this year. It was remote. We did it online. Next year, we want to combine online with in person. But from what you're saying, we also want to host these in-person conventions for these boot camps, like in-person boot camps. I know Teslin recently held the Push the Line one, where she's taken the boot camp that they've developed for Our Black Party and did it basically in person. And what we're doing right now is hosting ours online, but if we can combine that with in-person sessions, that would be great. Having local candidates meet each other and things like that, that'd be awesome. Let's do Phoenix and then Lloyd, then we'll do last thoughts.
Thank you, Pastor Hawkins. I just appreciate the fact that you are running, and you're running for the federal congressional seat, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. An answer to our prayers. And I just want you to know that reach out to us in California. Let us know, especially Southern Cal, because that's where I am, and Queen of LA and a lot of others.
I'm in Southern California.
Yeah, you're in the San Bernardino County, right?
Well, technically, I'm in Riverside, so 80% of the district is in Riverside.
Okay.
And then I have all of Imperial County, so my district goes from all the way to the Arizona border and then all the way to the Mexican border.
Okay, great. So let us know how we can help to support you too, because we need you. So yeah, just I'll reach out to you in the back channel, talk, and then we'll get a convention and all that. Thank you.
Yeah, and Pastor, you should check out our Freedmen policy page. We have a pledge on there that candidates can take. It basically says that you'll pledge to run on reparations now, freedmen reconstruction, and genocide prevention. And we have a page on each of those topics on our website that's detailed. So I'll send you a link in the back channel, but check it out. And then I'll send you a link to our boot camp as well to get your feedback. Lloyd, it's on you, and then we'll do last thoughts.
Yeah, two things. First, hello, Reverend Hawkins. I'd like to ask that you hold a space to so that we can get to know Reverend Hawkins and ask a couple of questions, because I have a couple of questions for him, but I don't think that this space is the proper venue right now. So would you mind holding a space specifically for him? Because I think that we're going to support candidates. We need to know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree 1,000,000%.
I do want to say this. Please don't call me Reverend. I don't like Reverend at all.
Okay, Pastor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the reason why the Bible said reverence nobody but God, and I'm big on that. So, but Brian, I don't care about titles either. You can call me Brian.
Okay, Brian, you can call me Lloyd. Because I'm also in 2024 I'll be running in Louisiana.
That's what I was gonna say. You guys are both running, so we are getting our network tight here on the Freedmen and American Freedmen candidates. Man, if there's anyone else running in this space, please come up and say something before we go. Thank you.
Yeah, a son.
Who said?
No, that was a son. I think T. Morgan may be running too.
Oh, a son! I didn't know that. That's so beautiful. Oh my God! Oh my God! You, man.
Hey,
all right.
What are you running for?
I'm running for county council,
and the quote unquote most affluent county in the United States of us. I'm running for a county council seat first.
From few hours lips to God's ears.
Beautiful.
We need to have like.
I just said from you all's lips to God's ears.
Yes.
Amen. So where PG County used to be, but Charles County is now the most affluent county in the United States of us. We have led PG County, and so that's home for me, and that's where I'm going to be. That's where I'm throwing my hat in. So we're here.
We need to have candidate showers. Like when people announce their candidacy, we need to throw them a party, give them some donations, get some registered voters. You know what I mean?
I'm loving this, y'all. I'm telling you, from my lips to God's ears, man. We've been talking about this for the past few weeks, heavy. So yes, God, thank you.
Bree, I think it might be a good idea that you institute, or that the party institute a weekly candidate forum, or at least a bi-weekly one, so that as new candidates come up, we can get to know them.
Yeah, we can combine like the shower idea with like a roast. Like, okay, we about to make sure you're gonna make it through the fire, but if you make it through, here's all the donations from all the listeners. Here's some potential voters. But yeah, definitely. And I see Jadis came up to the stage. Jadis, did you want to say something? Or maybe not.
No, I brought him up, so maybe he's having a hard time connecting right now. But T. Morgan, did you say you were running as well?
I'm definitely looking into my options, seeing where could I best fit in. It's going to really depend on, like if I wanted to do Senate, we have Warnock and John Ossoff here. And it depends on who wins this Warnock and Herschel Walker race.
Okay.
Herschel has recently agreed to do a debate, y'all. I think it's going to be October 14th in Savannah, Georgia. This should be interesting.
Oh, yes, it will. It'll be entertaining, if nothing else.
Get the popcorn ready. Get the popcorn.
Right. Okay,
I don't think he's going to show up, but we'll see.
Okay. Jadis, before we start giving our last thoughts, this is your opportunity to come on up and introduce yourself.
Maybe you got stage fright. Just picture everybody in your underwear, like they said, right? All right, we'll start doing last thoughts. We'll give everybody like at least a minute. But we'll start with a son, and then we'll do T. Morgan, then Lloyd, then Phoenix.
So I just want to again thank the Freedmen's Party. You all know I love y'all, love y'all, love y'all.
Love you.
Everyone.
Love you too.
All the Freedmen Party members, I see you all. Thank you all for the tireless work that we all put in through all of our local organizations as well as our national organizations. I want to encourage everyone to drop the email address into the chat. Look for the flyer tomorrow. We will be releasing the flyer for the listening sessions. If you have any questions, You can either DM me, DM at Cat Task Force. You can reach us there as well. And yeah, I just say, let's just keep the work up. Let's all try to get on the same page, accepting that we have our differences in how we want to identify personally, and that is to be respected. We should all identify with whatever is comfortable for us. But when it comes to our ethnic group and our political status, we must come together on one page. The daughters of the Confederacy did this by wiping our history out, wiping our original recognized legislative name out so that we would be right here trying to figure out what we are. Now we know. We have now uncovered it. And as far as our political fight goes, we need to stand on freedom, accept that. And when we go home, you can be Black, African American, pink, yellow, green, the lollipop person. None of us mind. We're going to still roll with you because you're our family. But when we come out here in these political streets, family, our ethnic group is American freedmen, and our political status is freedmen. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the listening session. Let's go get it.
Yes. Thank you so much again, Hassan, for all the great work that you do and for what CAP is doing. Really excited. I definitely want to have FNN in those listening sections so we can get the word out to the public more. T. Morgan, it's on you, and then Lloyd, and then Phoenix.
Thank you again. Thank you, Freeman, for all of your energy and hosting these spaces and doing all this hard work and this research and then relaying the information back to us in a manner that is plain and simple to understand. I wanted you to know that I sincerely thank you for all of that work from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
And just before I get off this call, I want to make sure I'm understanding everything correctly as far as the title. Our nationality is American, citizenship American, ethnicity American freedmen, and race is what?
So you can choose whichever race term you like: African, Black, Negro, Mulatto, Afro. Those are optional. Like Hassan was saying, those are more personal choices. But when it comes to like a legislation and our ethnicity, especially on government documents, it's American freedmen is our ethnicity. Our nationality, like you said, is American, and our citizenship is actually freedmen. Our status of citizenship is freedmen. Like if you look at the native freedmen from the 5 tribes, on their IDs it says freedman citizen, because it's a type of citizen, like immigrant or native. It's a type of citizen.
I cannot wait to get my new driver's license that says American freedman on it. I just cannot wait to get my new passport. I am so ready for this to change. And good luck to us all and to everybody that is running for any type of office in your local area. I pray strength upon you and no fear. Just walk on out there in faith. And I land my plane.
Yes, I love that. 100% agree. Lloyd, it's on you, and then Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm so glad for the first time in my 62 years of my life. Okay, I don't want to sound like Michelle Obama, but anyway, for the first time in my life, I am seeing our community come together behind something that is really going to benefit us in the future, in a long-term future, and that we're having the foresight to see that. Hassan, I want to thank you for the work that you have done to get us here, but my sister, understand this. This is not the end, it is simply the beginning. So all the work that you've done, we got 100 times or 1,000 times more to do, and we look forward to working and to supporting you and doing it.
Definitely. Love that, Lloyd. Phoenix, go for it.
Hey, family. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. And thank you for educating our people and getting us all on one accord and laying the groundwork. Thank you, California family, for working and laying the ground. I remember these times, and Hassan was there too. I mean, we went through it. So we're here now. And let me just tell you, and I'll keep it simple and plain. American freedmen is going to get you your bag. Okay? So if you don't understand it any other way, just know that using American freedmen as your nationality and freedmen and American as your citizenship, right? And as your status is freedman, whatever. You're American freedman. That's your bag. Don't forget it. Use it at all times. If you want to be Black American freedman, so be it. You want to be Negro American freedman, so be it. If you want to be Mulatto American freedman, so be it. Just be American freedman. No one can take that from you, and that's where you're going to get repaired. That's where your generations will be repaired, and that's what we're doing. God bless you all. I love you, and thank you so much.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, if you want your check, just remember 2 words: American freedman. You know, that's gonna be super important. Just whisper those words when you go to sleep. The American freedman. But yeah, that's the password to get in. Okay, to get our reparations. We can't go in as anything else. That's the secret password. That's the secret code. And you know they say the word spelling and spells is the same thing, right? And if you go back to all the religions, they talk about uh, the value of speech. You know, in the beginning there was the word, and if you look at what happened with Muhammad, they talk about read, and he's trying to, you know, get him to speak into these words. So if you understand like the value of being specific on what you're asking for, is super important. We need to be asking for our reparations now as American freedmen. And I really appreciate that everyone came to this and we all came together. This was super powerful. And like I said, it's important that we had this privately as a family and not in these OMB sessions. We don't want to look disorganized. We want to walk in there all on one accord. American freedmen, give us our check. So, first listening session for OMB will be tomorrow. Make sure y'all hit up a son so y'all can at least try to get in. If you can't, it'll hopefully be live streamed. And yeah, just keep an eye out on the OMB session. Spread the word. Educate your freedman family around you. If you're not sure if someone's a freedman, there's basically an 80% chance that they are. So help them with lineage tracing and all that good stuff. Son, you got your hand up. Go for it.
Just real quick, I wanted to say for the live streaming, if OMB allows us to do it, we're going to also, try to just record and play it back if we're not able to do it live. But you can go to the reparationist perspective and to ETM Media. They will also be doing it along with the FNN news channel. So those are going to be the 3 outlets that we will be live streaming. At least the 6 ones that we have, we will be streaming them through those specific channels for you all to view. We're going to do all we can to make sure that we get this out to you all.
Definitely. And think about this in terms of what we're getting. We need as many freedmen media as we can. I love ETM Media, News Total even, and what everyone is doing with reparations perspective. And if you look at, today, if there's something important happening, you'll have like CNN, NBC, ABC, etc., like live stream the same event. Well, now we can do the same thing as freedmen, live stream our own events and get the information to our people. Pastor, did you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I just want to say a couple quick things. I'm really encouraged by this, but I do want to say something. When you look throughout history, you will never find that there was one Jew who decided to, go get the bag by themselves. You'll never find that there was one Japanese, when they were talking about giving Japanese reparations, that they went and got it by themselves. And in society, if you go back and you study history, some of the greatest movements were always infiltrated. Some of the greatest movements were always destroyed because of greed, or individuals thought, well, I'd rather just do this and worry about my family legacy. And that's what it always has killed us out throughout history. It seems like, at the end of it, people find themselves not wanting to stick together and stay together for the good of the whole cause. And, sacrifice means putting off something good for something greater later. Exactly. And I guarantee, as I listened what the sister said, stand together with me and get in the bag. And you know, and this is where it's all about unity. It's all about staying together.
Definitely, and in a very mathematical and precise way, we broke down the value of a vote, which is in 2020 was $90 per citizen. There's 32 million eligible freedmen voters. So if you take 32 million times 90, that's about $3 billion of value. And I bring that up because Michael Bloomberg spent $1 billion and lost in the 2020 primaries. So that leverage of a voting block is very valuable and important. So if we can come together as 32 million freedmen all voting on one accord, we can use that $3 billion in voting value to get our $6 million per freedman, which is around $250 trillion. That's a great investment. $3 billion to get 250 trillion for free, and it's $3 billion we don't have to raise. It's $3 billion that is inherent in us being American freedmen. All we have to do is organize our vote. So that's the easiest work we can do to get our reparations, and this delineation is a huge part of it. Lloyd, did you want to say one more thing before we go out?
Yeah, regarding, one of the things we always do is we got to get our people registered. We have to get our people registered and then get them to vote. And sometimes you have to implement structures into the community that everybody follows. So at some point, we're going to have to begin saying, if you have no voter registration cards, you have no voice. So therefore, I'm not talking to you until you get a voter registration card, because the reasoning being, none of what Eric, you just said can happen if we don't vote.
Yes, and just to add to what you just said, if you take there's 12 million freedmen that aren't voting, 10 million that are unregistered. So if you take the 12 million times 90, that's basically over $1 billion being burnt every election cycle. And if you take the 10 million that are unregistered, that's like 900 million being burned every election cycle of unregistered voters. So you would never, again, give someone $3 billion without asking for something specific in return, and you would never burn billions of dollars without getting what you want as well.
I mean, actually, and I know this is extreme. However, if you're American freedmen and you're not voting, you are hurting this community. You are worse than crack cocaine to me.
Yeah, there was. If you go back to Reconstruction, there was a lady. I want to find the quote because I posted it. They said it was a lady. She said, anyone who doesn't vote. This is during Reconstruction. She said, anyone who doesn't vote will be branded. Well, we'll deal with them personally, and they'll be branded as a white-livered coward. Basically, anyone who didn't vote, they felt like they were basically traitors of the race because they had just come out of slavery. So they're like, why aren't you voting? Like, if you're not voting, you're basically not a citizen. You're basically still a slave. So,
like, what did we fight for this
for? What did we fight for? What did we die for? What did we go through all of this trouble for, if not to have our own representation in government, right?
And
so we're gonna have.
I just made a decision that is my new attitude, and that's not going to be. Initially, it's not going to be popular, but eventually it'll get through the zeitgeist. So here's the thing. I need y'all to back me on this.
Okay. So let's say it that. Let me say it in a softer way. Let me say it in a softer way. What we're saying. What we're saying.
I think we gotta say it like she said. I found the exact quote. Here it goes. Everyone who refuses to register in order that he may vote, we shall make it our business to deal with him. He shall be branded as a white-livered coward who would sell his liberty.
Exactly. And I agree with that.
These are coming from the people who built up Wilmington. And that was the city who had the Wilmington Massacre, where there was so much they were afraid of Negro rule, so they basically destroyed and had a massacre and had a genocide and took over the government there. Because the black people, the freedmen there, were voting at such high turnout levels that they ran the government.
Yeah, they play too many games. But we're here now, so I feel like this. Since we see our candidates in this space, right? And if anyone was ever on the fence about, oh man, I'm not voting because ain't no tangible. Hey, you see your actual people here, and there's more They're just not here in this space right now. So your people here who are fighting for you day in and day out, outside of politics, I'm talking about getting bills passed, having meetings with the OMB, fighting in cartel rich lands. I mean, these are people that are doing the work all day, every day. And the least you can do is give them your vote and support anyone that's in your local community by voting. We don't want to hear any more spaces about don't vote it, don't do it, all this other stuff that's happening. Do know that your power is in your vote. And Eric just gave you the mathematical equivalent to what your vote is. And we just gave you what American freedmen is to your bag. So we're telling people who don't want to vote, should we give you an opt-out form for being an American freedman and getting reparations? We could do that too. So that's all I'm saying. And I land there. Thank you.
Yeah, we can definitely connect the voting to the reparations. Like, all right, you ain't gonna vote, you ain't gonna get none of this bread once we over here doing all the work. Lloyd, you still got your hand up, or is that a bug? I don't know if this
It's a bug.
Okay.
You can close out.
Okay. I was about to keep calling on you all day. All right, y'all. Thank y'all again for coming. This was a great, really productive space. I'm just amazed, like, what we can accomplish when we come together like this. Especially, we've been here like an hour and a half, but so much progress. Thank everyone for coming. Thank you to all the great speakers: Hassan, T. Morgan, Pastor Lloyd, Phoenix, Katie earlier for co-hosting. Thanks for all the listeners for being patient. And yes, stay on this. Please go to the OMB sessions and spread the word. We're going to get everything we're owed. We just got to stay focused and keep putting in the work. So with that, y'all have a great rest of y'all day and a great rest of y'all week. See y'all tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern.
Peace and blessings, y'all.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Bye, Phoenix.